So we have now focused on the demands of the task that we are setting our learners to complete, and we've also focused in on the existing skill levels of our learners. And we've probably got a gap between the two. So we come to the final corner of our triangle is knowing what to do. And it is this corner of the triangle which is probably the most important corner of the three. So the intention now is to scaffold some additional skills for our learners in order that they are more prepared for the final task. As we develop activities to use with our learners, we want the activities also to reflect these key messages. With the numeracy, we don't want to just to teach rules and algorithms, but we want to teach understanding. We also know that if we can place the numeracy into context, if we can make the numeracy concrete and visual and active, then all those things will help our learners pick up those new skills. We also want any numeracy to be linked with other numeracy topics. So fractions that just don't stand by themselves, but they're linked to whole numbers and decimals and percentages and so forth. So we want the numeracy to be linked as much as possible. We also want any new skills to be transferable into other situations, so that something which is learned on your particular course, those skills can also be used in other contexts at home and in employment and indeed on other courses. So again, we have our key messages. Perhaps this time written in a slightly different way, but they're key messages as we start to consider developing a scaffolded activity that will help our students. I think at this stage it's also good to mention the work of Jo Boaler. Jo Boaler, the Professor of Mathematics Education at Stanford University. And here's a couple of quotes from her. And within the math section here at ARA, we very much aligned ourselves to much of the thinking of Jo Boaler. And it would be good, I think, to perhaps just to Google some of her work. So we've placed this numeracy calculation into a very familiar context. It's also a very practical situation. It's very real. It's concrete. People are going to have to visualize the amount of change that should be provided, and taking away a couple of money figures from one another is also very transferable to countless other contexts. So now develop a numeracy activity that will help your learners move towards being able to complete their final task more easily. And as you develop that activity, try to make it real, try to place it into context, use pictures, try to bring understanding to the maths involved rather than just providing rules and algorithms, and try to ensure that those skills learnt through your activity are transferable into other settings as well. So we've now been around our triangle, and I hope in going around this triangle that it's alerted you to the demands of what you're asking your students to do, numeracy wise and maths wise. It's alerted you to the current skill levels of your learners, and it's also given you some skills in order to develop a scaffolded activity to provide additional help when necessary to your learners.